Hey boys and girls. Well, the pitchforks are still out for season 2, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit more, but not with a Tekken 8 focus, also. But, well, let's just say some of the things in this video will surprise quite a few people, even though they will act like, no, obviously that was always the case. But, first off, let me get one thing clear. Comments like this. Why are you even opening your mouth when you don't have access to the full patch yet? And people are surprised by this. And everyone opened their mouth. We have a whole improvised, like emergency heat speak podcast about it, with a season 2 focus. Everyone, basically left and right, except for a few exceptions, crashed out. Now, the real question should be not why are you complaining if you haven't access to the patch notes yet. The actual question these people, these idiots, should have asked is, what on earth did they show you on screen that is the reaction? Isn't that the real question? Isn't the real question, holy fuck? I mean, what? I mean, they didn't have much time, so holy fuck, what on earth did they show you in that Tekken talk that this is the reaction? That should be the question, in my opinion. But I want to start with PhidX on something he has mentioned, which is very important for this. So I will now let the man speak first.
And then my other concern, aside from the attack stance, is that characters who kind of felt designed around particular weaknesses seem to be, again, because we have to see everything, seem to be getting those buffed out. I looked at Reyna's new low that on counter hit goes into this evasive low that goes under like highs and mids. And they showed a lot of moves that were like going under highs and kind of like getting around the opponent's attempts to defend outside of just guessing. Yeah. I felt like Reyna was, as crazy as her moveset is, I actually like enjoyed that they had this vision with her where insane mids, insane highs, fast poking, so much control, electric wind god fist, hop kick. She could do like everything. Yeah. But if she goes low, it's a bit of a... And I kind of like that exchange. Now it feels like, again, we don't know how this new low works fully, but just the idea of a low that is kind of evasive. It looks like she can poke from far away. It leads into stance off. I felt really weird about changes like that. That she can heat smash twice from Heaven's Wrath with a new low. It felt like they saw this weakness, and to help people who enjoy Reyna but didn't figure out how to navigate that weakness, they started patching it up. And that general trend, I think, is how we get a lot of power creep. We get a lot of eventually frustrating designs. That's the biggest thing that concerned me, was the idea of seeing a character's weakness and patching it over.
So now that he has spoken, what do you think of this? I try as best as I can keep my own opinion as, as silent as possible, because I actually want to have like unfiltered takes on this and from everyone. I don't care about your rank. I don't care about if you are a casual or one of those snoppy veterans like me. I want your opinion. And I don't judge you as a mongoloid or a scrub if you have fun with this game and you enjoy it fully, every aspect of it. I don't mind, right? It is what it is, right? It fucking is what it is. So how do you think about this? Characters, they are patching out, seems to be, their weaknesses. Is that something that, I want to have your opinion basically on what would be a good approach? Like, can you formulate an approach to this? Because people want buffs for their characters, right? No one wants to see their character being weak and full of holes, right? But on the other hand, if characters are universally so strong in so many aspects, what are we doing, right? For example, is it let me start with this very basic, right? Is it good? Is it the right approach? Because that is what I thought. I thought it is a... Now I have to get into my own opinion. I thought it is a bad idea that leads to a lot of problems when you try in a game like Tekken to string a system around the whole cast of characters. Why do I think that, or why did I think that? I thought that because in Tekken, characters are so rich in their move list. I mean, it's a meme, right? The Tekken move lists are memes. They have so many moves where you can create identity, uniqueness, that why do we need a universal system stripped around these moves, like roped in? The characters are our system. Every character can be a system in a game like Tekken. Because the move lists are so rich. Is that something that you enjoy? Chances are, as a veteran, you will not. I mean, obviously, it's like, I can already expect the answer. But even maybe newer players, do you think that it's boring? That, for example, every HeatEngage is plus 17. Every heat dash is plus 5. And it leads to the obvious balancing problems and a corset you are basically stripping around yourself. That they even started with this. Oh, make it universal, right? Plus 17 on every HeatEngage. Feng's shoulder, plus 17. Forward 2, plus 17. Is that good? It leads to situations where Steve's running 2 is, I think, plus 6 on block if he doesn't heat dash it. But it's plus 5 if he heat dashes. It is literally less plus. Feng's shoulder goes from minus 18 launch punishable on block to plus 5. It's so nonsensical, it seems wrong. Because in my opinion, it wasn't designed for this. It wasn't designed for this universal approach. And a universal approach like this makes it also more difficult for characters to develop or have natural weaknesses, right? Right? Am I tripping? Again, guys, bro, I'm not a fighting game designer. I'm not an expert on this. I played a lot of shit. I played Tekken, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, like Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, very little Street Fighter 4, 800 hours or so Street Fighter 6. I played DNF Duel, I played 2XKO, I played MKX. I have done my rounds across fighting games. I'm not just a Tekken player, even though Tekken is my favorite one. So this also, I would say, makes it very hard for characters to create individual weaknesses, right? Or like let's say it makes it more difficult if you have this universal thing stripped around. And also, I want to hear what you think of this, of my take here, and I want to know that, let's be honest, when it comes to weaknesses, no one likes their character to be weak. To be weak as fuck. Let's be honest about it. We like our characters to be perceived weak, or to be perceived as having a super high skill floor, or you need to be a very, very sick guy to play this character and shit. That only goes to a certain degree. It can shift also, right? Only because your character is hard to play doesn't mean he's not a literal piece of shit that is hated by a lot of people, and I know what I speak about. So, what do you think of it? Do you think your characters that you play, all of them should be nerfed? Or is it maybe the overall problem is the vision of power level for this game is the problem? Do you feel that way? Do you think that? Do you enjoy the power level in Tekken 8? Because when I think about it, I feel that the power level of Tekken 8 is so high that it also creates problem. Like, it launched so high. It almost feels like when they've shown the first like alpha build where you had multiple heat tokens, it felt like they were like, you know what? Let's not be careful here. Let's set the bar for the power level in goddamn oblivion, like somewhere in the stratosphere, and only go down if we need to. But set the starting bar at like insanity. Right? And then we work down from there. Instead of, let's be very careful and put it somewhere around, like not that high, and like work up if we need to. I think that is what they did, and I think that creates problems. No one likes their character. No one likes to feel suddenly weaker in a fighting game. I know a lot of you will now say, no. I would like that. I would like to feel way weaker than I feel now with my characters in this fighting game, in this system. But the emotional reality is most people do not. Most people don't want to feel weaker. They want to feel more powerful. So I think that is also a very... I'm not saying it's wrong to design a game like this. I'm saying it's very dangerous. Because when you start out in the stratosphere, to go down is way harder than go up. Because you displease players, right? What do you mean my character is now weaker? What do you mean my damage is now lower? You know? What do you mean my mix-up is now weaker? The potential reward on it. That is very, very difficult to sell to people. So what do you think of it? Because what we are seeing, I think, is correct. And now we come to the part of MainMan already talked about it 5 years ago. Funny enough. Yes, in Tekken 7. Yeah, in Tekken 7. It concerned a famous Bob update. So I will now play some clips.
What's up guys, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome and staying healthy and strong. It's just horrible! Bob was this super easy, all-round character that could do everything. Had great poking, great damage, launching throw, 50-50s, great punishment. You know, it was like, what is this character? And then they sort of fixed him by giving him weaknesses. For example, he could no longer launch at 15 frames. And that has now been taken away from us. Because now he has a 15 frame launching hop kick. Oh, making Bob like everyone else. You don't want to make the characters resemble each other so much. And that's not even the worst offender. So make him resemble Mishima's yet again with a launching CD1. Used to only launch on counter hit. Now we're back to what it was in Tekken 6. It launched on normal hit. And now we're there yet again. You kind of have to acknowledge that it was a little bit more interesting when he had a very defined weakness. My problems with this and how I feel it's a really negative call by the Tekken devs and the balancing team.
The character, if that becomes a part of that character's identity, not that, because it's not a part of a character's identity if everyone has it. So I'll give you a very good example. Look at Tekken 7. We had characters that had 16 frame launches as their fastest launches, right? Zafina, Marduk in the past in Tekken Tag 2, Anna, Raven. Now Raven still had the 16 frame with the down 4-2. Anna's down 4-2 was 16. Bob didn't have a 15 frame launcher. And all of those characters were given 15 frame launches. Bob up forward 4, Anna down forward 2, Marduk down forward 1 from Tag 2 to Tekken 7. And it was a little bit annoying for me because I feel like one of the things that was so cool about those characters is that they had to work around those weaknesses, right? It's like, okay, especially in this game in Tekken 8, rage arts are -15. So you look at Jun Kazama, for example, her hop kick and down 4-2 are both 16 frames. You can't launch a rage art with that character. You have to use down back 1. And I think that's a weakness of the character, not a crazy one. Down back 1-1 still does a lot of damage, but it's a weakness, right? And I think that one of the beautiful things about Tekken characters for me, and watching Tekken as a commentator and playing as a player, is to see players work around their weaknesses. And then I think as time has gone on, it's become a little bit more difficult to tell what a character's weakness is. If I ask you what is Jin's weakness as it is right now, I think it would be a very difficult question for you to answer. What is Jin's weakness? Now, Jin players will try to answer that question because they're all down players. And I think, I don't know if you're on something, but like they'll try to answer that question. They shouldn't. They should shut up. But, you know, it's like, you know, Jin and also other characters as well. I feel like, you know, they've kind of homogenized a lot of these characters. But I think isolated, I don't have a problem with the debuff thing. I just think that hopefully it can be one of maybe Anna's identity things. But like you said, Fee, I hope that there are some weaknesses of the character as well that you can clearly explain to someone who is new, who you're coaching, and say, this is what you watch out for when Anna's in crouch. Very dangerous. Here's your counterplay, and blah, 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 blah. But here are some weaknesses that you can exploit against the character if you move laterally to this direction and this, that, the other. So I think that's what Tekken's all about.
There you have it. They already have done it. They already have done it in Tekken 6 and in Tekken 7. They went back to it, or were like, okay, this is now the direction we want, right? And I cannot even fault them for this too hard, because I think you are in a... Look, we are now in an age, I think starting with Tekken 7, with that game, where fighting games, to be able to survive, need to have a plan, or you can also improvise this, but some longevity, right? We need updates, new characters, new seasons where we change things up, give new moves, right? We can't make these new moves dog shit. No one wants a dog shit move. So it is, I think, very hard as a developer, and you can say they are idiots as much as you want. I don't want to be. I don't think they have it easy. You can say, but they are idiotic, bro. They are like literally busting out fucking. We get to that. That is the next chapter. We are busting out like +9 into mix. I mean, think about how the game was in the first season, like how the power level was. The frames on stuff is fucking crazy. And I'm like, yes, but still, it is very hard to for example, now, and also with a new entry, do we make the game weaker? Like, I don't know. This is incredibly difficult. What do you think about this? It is incredibly difficult to make games interesting, players interested, feel this is fresh and new, while not directly buffing the power level into the stratosphere, right? It's very, very difficult. Very difficult, in my opinion. So, obviously, we are all looking at this and seeing the frames and properties on stuff and are like, bro, that is way too much. That is way too much. On the other hand, what a lot of people don't do is give concrete alternatives. How do you want the game to be then? That is what I'm always interested to hear. How do we want the game to be? Can we even say that there is a we who can formulate this? Because when I think about it, okay, how would I want it? Do I like +17? The fuck I don't. What should it be? +10 wouldn't change that much. Let's be honest. +10 in your face wouldn't change that much. So how much plus should it be? +5? HeatEngage? +5? Okay. But would that not be suddenly worse than the old game, where basically all HeatEngagers that were moves in Tekken 7 had soft knockdowns? Fang's shoulder, right? Like Requiem from Brian. They basically had like soft knockdowns. So there was not really like a real mix attached, but like sort of pressure. Well, you engage the ground game, right? You engage the ground game, which is interesting, I think. I think this is already a glaring point where I see PhidX already confirmed, and when it comes to like dumbing things down and simplifying things, making it just this and that, like just the binary way he talked about with HeatEngagers in general. Because HeatEngagers, sorry, this is getting a bit random, but it's so hard to speak about, like to pin it down what it is, right? For me, something like a HeatEngage, you are +17 standing in their grill, right? So for example, they talked about it with Alisa, you just do, what is it, forward 1+2, because it's a perfect mid. With other characters, you just mix your most rewarding mid with your most rewarding low, that's it. But what were they before? Did we think about this? Basically, all the HeatEngagers who were moves in Tekken 7, I'm pretty sure 99% of them at the very least, were soft knockdowns. Meaning they would wall splat at the wall if they connected, probably. Quite few of them. But what did happen in the open? I got a soft knockdown, so now I enter the ground game in Tekken. Which is incredibly interesting in my opinion, but it is interesting because I know how it works. And this is where I think the developers enter the like, do casuals like this? I don't think so. So the ground game in Tekken is incredibly complex, especially like I just want to stand up. In other games, for example in Street Fighter 6 right now, correct me if I'm wrong, you have two options to stand up. You can either tech or not tech. And the only thing tech does, it doesn't even change the frame data, it just changes the distance, if I'm correct. Where you wake up to your opponent. It just changes the distance. You can only wake up in like two different ways in Street Fighter. But in Tekken, you can wake up in like, I don't even know from the top of my head how many. So I don't even know how many. Basically like 13 or something options. And specific ones already obviously can be taken away from you, right? Specific knockdowns make you not able to tech. a specific wake up position takes the spring kick away and the toe kick, right? Out of a different position on the ground, suddenly the tech roll has different properties. So that is very complex, I think incredibly interesting. I think the ground game of Tekken is one of the most interesting aspects of this game. Because there's so many options. I can stay on the ground, I can roll, I can do this kick, I can do that kick. But what did they do? They put the heat engagers on moves that would produce the situations where you engage with the ground game. And they simply make it plus 17, everyone standing mix, there you go. I think that is already, I mean, as soon as we did see that, we knew what is going to happen, right? As soon as someone saw this, the immediate thought has to be, whoa, that is Tekken depth, complexity, situational awareness, engaging with interesting concepts and vast options that is being taken away. Now, why is that the case? Is it that easy? Is it that easy to say? It is the case because if you have a casual and you tell him, well, in this game, just if you want to know how to get up or in what situations you can get up, in what situations how you can get up or not get up, that is a whole game in and of itself. Now, a lot of people would probably say, the fuck are you talking about? I don't want to learn this, I don't want to play this, I'm already overwhelmed, I'm not interested in this. Like, they're already like information overload, like what do you mean? I have so many options to get up, what are you talking about? And I can be off axis, I can be face down, feet towards, feet, like what? So we take it away. We reduce the amount of times this happens. Is that good? Is that bad? Does it make the game less deep? Yes. But and then I'm always conflicted with this when I don't have to do it. But let's change position from the player to the producer. I know you don't need to. No one needs to do that. I am not the producer. I am the player. I don't need to do that. But sometimes to understand shit like this, what the motivation is, I think it can help to do that. So if I do that, and I change position, I change the position to a producer or a developer or the guys who literally like give the budget for the game, right? They make this product, and the only thing that interests them is having as many people as possible be interested and buy this and give us their money, right? That is at the end our ultimate goal. Everything else is second priority. Everything else. If it's a good product, if it's a bad product, if we are proud of it, if it's deep, if it's Tekken or not Tekken, at the end of the day, that every aspect, every single point I just listed is secondary priority. So the natural logical, or like the first instinct is obviously, how do we make this more appealing to a broader market? We simplify it. We just simplify it. So people can get in easier, right? And then will stay, and then will buy a costume, and then they will buy a battle pass, and then they will buy a season pass. So, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how I can present them. I don't know. I would like to present them an alternative. And it's very easy to say, but the game would be better. I agree. The game would be better. But that they will immediately tell you, but we don't care about if the game is good. We care if people buy it. So I just want to say this, the only option I see, and I mean, again, I think Season 2 is gonna be, I think the best case for Season 2 is, it stays roughly with how many like veterans enjoy this and veterans don't enjoy this. I think it will stay roughly the same as it is now. That is the best case scenario. I think the expected scenario, what I expect is, it will get at least a little bit worse. canned mix-ups, plus frames, basically only the option of do I duck, do I not duck, right? Reduced to that option. Do I step or do I not step? Like, I need to walk here. Do I go for the walk and commit, or do I get fucked? So this binary thing PhidX talks about, I think my expectation is, and I think that is the reasonable assumption, it's going to be a little bit worse or drastically worse. That also means that the interest in the game, or what they have, the signal they received of like how many people bought it and bought accessories or DLCs, or the amount of players who play this game right now, because they have all the numbers, or every console and PC, the signal they received was not, people don't like this. That was not the signal they received. Because if you, as someone who wants to make money with this, receive the signal, holy shit, people do not like this, no one buys this, people stopping playing this game left and right, and it's enough to make you worried, this would not have been the presentation. This would not have been the presentation. These things wouldn't even be. These things would not be what they have shown. They wouldn't probably even. These things would probably not even be in the game. Like, the things they have shown would not even be there if the echo they received is no one wants to have this game, no one wants to play this is garbage. So the only realistic reason I see of that they are turning this ship literally around into legit, like things like, holy shit, we are literally buffing backdashes and reducing maybe the hitbox, the horizontal hitboxes of attacks, the reward on 50/50s, the cancel, like we reduce the power level like crazy, buff movement like crazy. The only option I see for that to happen is if the numbers go into the bottom, like completely hard. Do I see that happening? No. 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 Because on the one hand, we are all addicted to this shit, and it's still Tekken, and there's no real alternative, because all of the 3D games right now available are dead. Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter 5, what was the Soul Calibur? There's no rival product. That is also why I've read a lot that VF6 cannot come fast enough, and I'm definitely very interested in that game. Very interested. But that is not there yet, and that can potentially be like 2 or 3 years until it come out. The only thing that we have seen is a concept trailer. Well, so with now, I want to enter this turning into a podcast. Holy shit! Now, I want to show you something, and I'm not gonna bait you with this and like act like, oh, I put like Tekken 8 footage in the background while a main man talks. But I want you, when it comes to like the what we say, exactly what we say about Tekken 8, like to a T, like exactly what we say. That started a long time ago, and I want you just to listen to this. If you and just imagine that he talks about maybe a different
What's up,
game.
guys? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. So in this video I will be ranting a little bit about the problems I just keep seeing in the gameplay and the balancing of Tekken 7. You see this with all of the new characters basically, and DLC characters. They have these crazy over-the-top moves that just limit your opponent's defensive options. Reduce defensive options and reduce movement. What does that do with the game? We have the good old legacy characters, and in suddenly comes patch, is it 3.21? Correct me, chat, which was the patch where we got suddenly homing hell sweeps? Well, homing. They weren't exactly homing, but they suddenly tracked like crazy to Kazuya's, the Mishima's weak side. Yeah, everyone goes batshit crazy. What the fuck is this? And I also did not like it. Suddenly, my opponent's defensive options are reduced, and Kazuya becomes more brain dead. It's less interesting to play. And they remove it. And it's like, oh good. And then I play against a couple of Leroys. And I just find myself going, I don't like this at all. if a Leroy is pressuring you, there is nothing you can do. All you can do is guess. I get so stressed and annoyed playing against Leroys because you have no defensive options to go to. What is Tekken if you can't apply movement? What is this game if I can't use movement to counter your offense? You're reduced to guessing. That's all it is. All you can do is guess. It's like, it's this theme of oversimplification in Tekken. In prior games where people had many defensive options to counter your moves because one move alone wouldn't cover 3 different defensive options. But in this game, they just implement more and more of it. How is that reasonable? Is that how you balance a game? By giving the characters super attacks so everyone ends up using only 5 moves because they're so over the top? In older games, the characters had shorter move lists, but a larger chunk of that move list was utilized because the attacks covered very specific things. No, it doesn't bode well for Tekken 8 in my opinion. You add more characters, you bloat it, you add complexity, but you reduce depth. Depth is having more options, more defensive options as you play the game, and more offensive options. You don't gain depth by giving characters super attacks that cover every single thing in the game. Tekken 7 has reduced depth and increased complexity with 50 characters. Oh, having played Tekken 5 VR a lot, and then play this again, and it's a bit distressing. And I really hope they reinvent the game quite a bit for Tekken 8, and this oversimplification of a system, that they revert at least some of it. I know it's good for casuals, and I know casuals like big character select screens with lots of characters. Some of the things the oversimplification stuff gave us was good. I can't say I miss the endless resets, you know, people backrolling and you pick them up into combos endlessly. A lot of people disliked that. It's fine that they removed that. But when you reduce the movement and give all of the characters 5 key moves that you buff, you know, you make them into god moves, you have a big problem because you reduce depth. When I fight against Leroy, it's like, there's nothing you can do other than try and guess and understand your opponent's psychology and his patterns. There's no go-to defensive option you have where it's like, you know, if I do this, I can get away from those basic moves he's doing. He's gonna have to use a homing move or a specific move to counter my sidestep or whatever. But there's no such thing. You can only guess versus Leroy. And that's a big problem. That tells you something is very wrong. Very wrong. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried for Tekken 8 is what I'm saying, and I really hope they reinvent the game and bring us back some of that, you know, more advanced decision making and strategy, please.
You heard this, right? Tekken 7. All you can do is guess. What is this without movement? What is Tekken without movement? What is Tekken without more defensive options? Instead of taking the guess, right? Do I duck? Do I not duck? Obviously, let's wait. This was aimed at the DLC character design of, for example, a Leroy Smith. This was not aimed at the whole of Tekken 7, right? What sparked this and the worries of Main Man is specific character design choices. we have seen more and more in Tekken 7. It's funny how he says, like, are we gonna get even less defensive options in Tekken 8? You reduced movement so much. Sorry that this has been so long and probably at times really chaotic. It's very long, I'm sorry. But it's because I don't know really like where I put my finger, right? Because the complaints like this existed in Tekken 7 while it was alive. It existed in Tag 2. I mean, famously, and holy shit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have read this and heard this multiple times, that JDCR, the great movement game that was Tag 2, and he was the king of that game, that JDCR famously says Tag 2 is basically a dogshit game. He very much disliked Tag 2. Because the way this game was designed forced you to basically, if you want to play this game proper, into a specific direction where you had to play the game in a certain way. Because movement was so strong in that game, and he disliked that. Maybe he thinks now differently about this, or maybe he has meant this in a different way, but I've certainly heard this quite a few times, that the king of Tag 2, the great game, right, the movement game, said this. Famously, I think people said Tekken 6, way less skill expression than in Tekken 5. People are carried as fuck in that game. Rage? I think was the introduction of homing moves in Tekken 6 or Tekken 5? Homing moves? Are you kidding me? You're not worried about your tracking? You're not just busting out a homing move that's fully tracking? What is this casual garbage? Rage? What the fuck? And then actually in Tekken 7, objectively, right? Rage arts? Rage drives? Wall bounce? Are you crazy? DLC 2D crap characters? So I'm like, depending on who you ask, it's like very different, right? People say Tekken died with Tekken 6. Other people say Tekken died with Tekken 4. Because prior to this you didn't have walls. Which is true. Then people say it died with Tekken 7, because suddenly they didn't give a shit about you had more cheap comeback mechanics. You did Rage Art, Rage Drive, 2D characters, guest characters. They don't respect the game anymore. What is this dog shit? Leroy Smith. A lot of people say really, at that point Tekken was buried. Leroy Smith, launched Leroy Smith. Now people say the game dies with Tekken 8, and so I'm also interested in like, I have my opinion about this. Do you think that Tekken 8 is just do you think Tekken 8 is different? Do you think, yeah, okay, back then every time people said this, but now it's different? It's now did we cry, or like, we always say we, but like, did people cry wolf too many times? But now this is the real wolf. Tekken 8 is the wolf. And before it was like kind of like a bit of crying, a bit whiny, and now we have the wolf. Because I think when I look at the reaction of almost like every single aspect of the veteran community in regards to what they have shown in Season 2 and also in regards to Tekken 8 in general, I have never perceived a reaction like this or witnessed it in nowhere. Never. I have never seen something like this. Like even Street Fighter 6, I have not seen something like this. And people complain still, obviously, about drive rush throw loops. But I have not seen a reaction like this, I think, ever. Ever. From basically, literally, I don't think this is a lie or an over-exaggeration, 99% of the whole community, hardcore community, veterans, basically crashed out. Main Man was way more worrisome than like positive or something, so that goes to the people who, and please, oh my fucking god, I should have said this in the beginning. If I see one comment of like TMM Shill or like Shill DX, I don't like this. Okay? Talk about what the man has said here, right? And in regards to PhidX, he has already said months ago, I quote him now, I like the way Tekken 7 plays way more. I don't like the balance of this game. Okay? These are quotes. Okay? So please don't throw these non-arguments around. He's a shill. Shut up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. But what has to be said is, I have never seen a reaction like this ever before. What makes me think that Tekken 8 might be an actual wolf. Right? What do you think about this?